The day humanity learned it wasn't alone in the universe was also the day they discovered just how much the galaxy despised them. Captain Marcus Way stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, Earth's most advanced warship, watching as the holographic display showed three crystalline vessels approaching Earth's orbit. Their design was unlike anything humans had ever conceived, organic-looking ships that seemed to grow rather than be built. Multiple energy signatures detected, Captain, reported Lieutenant Jade Rodriguez, her fingers dancing across the neural interface. They're not responding to any of our greeting protocols. Marcus frowned, his weathered features reflecting the blue glow of the tactical displays. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, establishing the United Earth Space Force after discovering faster-than-light travel. But first contact scenarios had always assumed peaceful intentions. The alien vessels suddenly accelerated, their crystalline structures refracting sunlight like deadly prisms. Before Marcus could issue orders, beams of concentrated energy lanced out from the lead ship, cutting through Earth's orbital defense satellites like paper. Battle stations, Marcus barked, muscle memory from countless drills taking over. Get me Earth command now. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as klaxons blared. Through the quantum comm link, Admiral Olivia Patel's hologram materialized, her expression grim. Captain Way, we're detecting similar attacks at 12 other orbital positions. The Arcturian Alliance has deemed us too dangerous to join the galactic community. Too dangerous? Marcus questioned, even as he directed defensive maneuvers. The Defender's shields absorbed another energy blast, but warning indicators flashed red across his console. Their ambassador just delivered their message before their fleet arrived, Olivia explained. They claim our aggressive evolution and warlike tendencies make us an unacceptable risk. They voted for preemptive containment. Marcus watched as more alien ships emerged from FTL, their crystalline forms blocking out the stars. They want to contain us by wiping us out? Like hell they will. He switched to shipwide comm. All hands, this is your captain. Today we make history. Today we show these aliens that humanity won't go quietly into the night. The Defender's experimental plasma cannons roared to life, their superheated payload smashing into the nearest crystalline vessel. To everyone's surprise, the alien ship's perfect structure shattered, fragments spinning off into space. They didn't expect us to have weapons that could hurt them, Lieutenant Rodriguez observed, a fierce grin on her face. Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons, not our primitive plasma technology. But their small victory was short-lived. For every alien ship they damaged, 3 more took its place. The Arcturian fleet had centuries of space warfare experience, and their tactical coordination was flawless. Earth command to all vessels, Admiral Patel's voice cut through the chaos. Fall back to secondary positions, activate Protocol Omega. Marcus knew what that meant. Humanity had prepared for this possibility, the threat of hostile alien contact. Deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden bunkers housed backup manufacturing facilities. Orbital shipyards had secret copies in underwater facilities. If the aliens thought they could eliminate humanity's space presence in one strike, they were in for a surprise. The Defender took another hit, shield generators screaming in protest. Engineering reports critical damage to sectors 3 through 7, Rodriguez reported. We can't take another direct hit. Marcus watched as Earth's orbital defenses crumbled under the alien onslaught. But even as his ship retreated, he saw the first signs of humanity's counterattack. Stealth satellites, invisible to alien sensors, launched swarms of kinetic projectiles. Ground-based laser arrays, powered by fusion reactors, began picking off smaller enemy vessels. Send this footage to all Earth nations, Marcus ordered. Every human needs to see what we're up against. This isn't about nations anymore, this is about species survival. The next 48 hours became known as the Long Night. The Arcturian Alliance hammered Earth's defenses, but humanity refused to break. Chinese missiles worked in concert with American energy weapons. Russian kinetic strikes coordinated with European electromagnetic pulses. For the first time in history, humanity fought as one. In his command chair, running on stims and determination, Marcus coordinated with vessels from nations that had been enemies mere days ago. The Defender's crew worked tirelessly, discovering weaknesses in alien technology that centuries of energy weapon warfare hadn't prepared them for. Their ships are perfect crystalline structures, Dr. Rashid Hassan, the ship's science officer, explained during a brief respite. But that perfection is their weakness. Their formations, their tactics, everything is based on mathematical precision. They don't adapt well to chaos. Marcus remembered his military history, like how English longbows proved devastating against perfectly arranged French knights. A plan began forming in his mind. The Defender joined other surviving Earth vessels in a seemingly random retreat. The Arcturians, programmed to expect logical battle formations, found their targeting systems confused by human ships moving in deliberately erratic patterns. All ships implement randomized evasion patterns, Marcus ordered. Make it look like panic, but each vessel maintained targeting solutions on these coordinates. He transmitted a series of positions that, to the mathematical minds of their opponents, would seem completely irrational. When the Arcturians moved to exploit what they saw as human disorganization, they flew right into humanity's trap. Concentrated fire from multiple angles shattered their perfect formations. Their crystalline ships, arranged for maximum energy weapon efficiency, proved vulnerable to old-fashioned crossfire. "They're pulling back," Rodriguez announced as the first day of battle turned into the second. Multiple enemy ships entering FTL. But Marcus felt no triumph. This was just the beginning. On his tactical display, he could see the bigger picture. Earth's orbital infrastructure lay in ruins. Thousands were dead, and the Arcturian alliance would be back with reinforcements. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of what was to come. "We need to accelerate the deep space program. If they won't let us join their galactic community peacefully, we'll need to take our place by force." As the adrenaline of battle faded, Marcus looked at his crew, humans from different nations, cultures, and backgrounds, all united by this crucible of fire. He saw in their eyes the same realization. Humanity had been tested and had survived, but the real war was just beginning. The birth of the Terran Empire wouldn't come from triumph or glory, but from necessity. Earth needed to unite, to build, to expand. They needed to turn their survival instincts, the very traits the Arcturians feared, into their greatest strength. "Log this in the ship's records," Marcus commanded. "The date humanity learned it stood alone in a hostile galaxy. The day we stopped being just nations and started becoming an empire." He looked at the retreating alien ships, his jaw set with determination. "And let them remember this as the day they made their worst mistake, underestimating humanity's will to survive." 6 months after the first contact battle, the underground shipyards of New Gibraltar hummed with activity. Lieutenant Colonel Nadia Volkov watched as robotic assemblers constructed the newest class of human warships. Unlike the crystalline perfection of Arcturian vessels, these ships bore the distinctive marks of human engineering: practical, adaptable, and deliberately unpredictable in design. "The Arcturians won't recognize these vessels as warships," observed Chief Engineer Jun Park, his artificial eye scanning the construction bay. "That's exactly what we want. They're looking for logical military design patterns. We're giving them chaos theory in steel and titanium." Nadia nodded, her scarred face reflecting in the reinforced glass. She'd earned those scars during the long night when her fighter squadron had engaged Arcturian interceptors. "How long until the first fleet is ready?" "The Unity fleet will have 20 ships within 3 months, Jun replied, bringing up holographic schematics. "We're incorporating everything we learned from the first battle. Randomized shield frequencies, plasma hybrid weapons, and hull designs that look like cargo vessels until they open fire." Above them, the prototype vessel Defiance took shape. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, adaptive armor plates shifting position even as they watched. This was humanity's answer to alien technological superiority, unpredictability built into every system. "Admiral Patel is arriving for inspection," a voice announced over the comm. Nadia straightened her new Terran Defense Force uniform, the phoenix emblem on her shoulder catching the light. The symbol had been chosen deliberately, humanity rising from the ashes of its first interstellar war. Olivia Patel had aged years in months, the weight of organizing Earth's defense evident in her bearing. But her eyes burned with determination as she surveyed the shipyards. "Progress report," she commanded. "The Unity fleet is ahead of schedule," Nadia reported. "Thanks to global cooperation, we've solved material shortages. Chinese nanofactories are working with American AI systems to optimize production. Even the Russians have shared their classified plasma containment research." "And the special projects?" Olivia asked, her voice lowered. Jun led them to a secured section of the facility. Inside, scientists from 24 nations worked on captured Arcturian technology. The crystalline fragments had proved a goldmine of advanced science, though not in the way their creators intended. We're not trying to copy their tech, Jun explained, showing them a hybrid drive system. We're learning their fundamental assumptions about physics and engineering, then developing countermeasures. Every piece of their technology tells us what they consider impossible, and that's where we'll hit them. The Admiral smiled grimly. The Arcturians thought they were containing a primitive species. Instead, they gave us the keys to their technological kingdom. She turned to Nadia. Your new assignment is ready. The Defiance needs a squadron commander who understands unconventional tactics. Nadia's pulse quickened. Squadron command was a huge responsibility, but humanity needed leaders who could think outside traditional military doctrine. The Arcturians had centuries of space combat experience, all based on precise mathematical formulas. Human unpredictability was their greatest weapon. There's more, Olivia continued as they walked through the facility. Our deep space probes have detected Arcturian fleet movements. They're gathering for another attack, but they're being cautious. The first battle shocked them. They lost ships to what they considered an inferior species. Let them come, Jun said fiercely. Every day they wait gives us more time to prepare. The Admiral's next words silenced the room. We're not waiting for them. Operation First Strike launches in 2 weeks. Nadia stared at her superior. We're taking the fight to them with an untested fleet. The Arcturians expect us to cower behind our orbital defenses, Olivia explained. Their entire strategy is based on sieging Earth until we surrender. They don't understand human psychology. We don't get more cautious after a fight, we get angry. The briefing that followed outlined humanity's boldest gambit. The Unity fleet would split into small groups, using modified versions of Arcturian sensor protocols to slip through their defense networks. While the aliens prepared for a massive assault on Earth, human strike teams would hit their supply lines and manufacturing centers. This is insane, Jun whispered, studying the mission profiles. Brilliant but insane. Exactly, Nadia replied. That's why it will work. The Arcturians built their entire civilization on predictable patterns. Their strategic doctrine can't account for an enemy that embraces calculated recklessness. Over the next 2 weeks, Nadia drilled with her squadron in the new fighters. The ships responded like living things, their neural interfaces allowing pilots to react at speeds that made traditional combat maneuvers obsolete. They practiced impossibly tight formations, then practiced breaking those formations in ways that would appear random to enemy targeting systems. The night before the operation, Nadia found herself in the observation dome, watching Earth's rebuilt orbital defenses glitter against the stars. Jun joined her, his artificial eye whirring as it adjusted to the low light. Strange to think that 6 months ago, we were just another developing space-faring race, he mused. Now we're about to take on the most powerful military alliance in known space. We're not just fighting for survival anymore, Nadia replied. Every human knows what's at stake. We either become strong enough to claim our place in the galaxy or we accept extinction. There's no middle ground. The Terran Empire, Jun tested the words, born in fire, built on defiance. Dawn brought final preparations. The Unity fleet assembled in Earth orbit, 20 ships that represented humanity's greatest achievement and most desperate gamble. Nadia led her squadron to the Defiance, the ship's living metal hull rippling with barely contained power. Admiral Patel's voice carried across all channels. All ships prepare for Operation First Strike. Today we show the galaxy that humanity will not be contained. Today we prove that the strength they feared in us will be their undoing. As the fleet prepared to jump, Nadia thought about how the Arcturians had judged humanity too dangerous to join their galactic community. They had attacked to prevent humans from becoming a threat. In doing so, they had guaranteed exactly what they feared, the birth of an empire that would reshape the galaxy. An empire built not on crystalline perfection, but on humanity's greatest strengths: adaptability, determination, and the unpredictable nature that made them so dangerous. The order came: all ships execute jump sequence. The Unity fleet vanished into FTL, carrying with it humanity's future and the seeds of the Terran Empire's birth. The Arcturians had started this war to contain a potential threat. They were about to learn why some threats should never be provoked. Operation First Strike hit the Arcturian supply lines like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. Commander Victor Santos watched from the bridge of the TDS Stormbreaker as his task force emerged from FTL directly inside the supposedly impenetrable defenses of the Arcturian supply depot at Nexus 7. Impossible, the crystalline beings' communications echoed across all frequencies. Their drives cannot achieve such precision. But they had, humanity's hybrid drives, reverse-engineered from captured technology and enhanced with Earth's primitive innovations, could now match and exceed Arcturian capabilities. The element of surprise was total. All ships execute battle plan chaos, Victor ordered, his dark eyes reflecting weapon flares. The human fleet split apart in seemingly random directions, their liquid metal hulls shifting form to confuse enemy targeting systems. Remember, no predictable patterns. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the fleet's chief science officer, monitored the battle from her specialized sensor suite. The Arcturians are attempting to form their standard defensive crystal lattice, she reported, her augmented reality display highlighting enemy movements. Their ships are locked into mathematical perfection and mathematical vulnerability. The Stormbreaker's weapons opened up, joined by its sister ships. Plasma hybrid beams struck crystalline vessels at precisely calculated weak points, shattering their perfect formations. Human fighters darted between capital ships, their attack patterns based on chaos theory algorithms that made them virtually impossible to track. They're trying to adapt, Victor observed, watching the enemy's desperate attempts to counter human tactics. But their entire civilization is built on patterns and predictability. They can't comprehend why we're not following proper military doctrine. The battle for Nexus 7 lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the supply depot lay in ruins, its crystalline structures broken and drifting, but Victor's fleet wasn't finished. This was just the first target of many. All ships prepare for Phase 2, he commanded. Download everything from their databases before we move on. Dr. Tanaka, you have priority on the data analysis. Over the next week, human strike forces hit dozens of Arcturian installations. Each attack utilized different tactics, different approach vectors, different weapon configurations. The enemy could never predict where the next strike would come from or what form it would take. In her lab aboard the Stormbreaker, Yuki worked tirelessly to process the captured Arcturian data. Their technology isn't just advanced, she explained during a command briefing. It's stagnant. They haven't made any major innovations in centuries because they believe they've achieved perfection. Victor studied the holographic displays showing Arcturian ship designs. And perfection becomes predictable. Have you completed the analysis of their FTL communication network? Yuki's eyes lit up. Better than that, we've found their weakness. She brought up a new display showing the crystalline structure of Arcturian technology. Their entire civilization depends on perfect resonance between their ships, their stations, even their bodies. Break that resonance. And we break their empire, Victor finished. How soon can we implement this? The modified disruptor waves are ready for testing. But Victor, she hesitated, this wouldn't just defeat them, it would shatter their entire way of life. The commander's expression hardened as he remembered Earth's burning orbital stations. They tried to exterminate us because we didn't fit their perfect pattern. Now they'll learn why evolution favors adaptability over perfection. The next phase of operation first strike targeted key Arcturian command and control centers. The new disruptor weapons didn't just destroy enemy ships, they fractured the very crystalline matrices that made their technology possible. From his command chair, Victor watched the effects of humanity's latest weapon. Arcturian ships didn't just break apart, they lost cohesion at the molecular level, their perfect patterns dissolving into chaos. Message from Earth Command, his communications officer reported. Other task forces report similar success. The Arcturian defense grid is collapsing across 3 sectors. But victory brought new challenges. As news of the human offensive spread, other alien civilizations took notice. Some saw opportunity in the Arcturians' weakness. Others feared humanity's rapid technological advancement and unconventional tactics. Multiple quantum communication intercepts, Yuki reported during one battle. The Centaurian Collective is mobilizing their fleet. The Orion Assembly is calling for sanctions against Earth. They're afraid of us. They should be, Victor replied grimly. Humanity tried to join their galactic community peacefully. They chose to see us as a threat. Now we'll show them what a real threat looks like. Earth Command's response to the growing galactic crisis was typically human, bold, aggressive, and unpredictable. Instead of retreating to defend Earth, the fleet pushed deeper into Arcturian space. We're not just fighting for survival anymore, Victor told his crew as they prepared for another assault. We're reshaping the galaxy. The aliens thought they could contain humanity's potential. Instead, they've forced us to exceed it. The Stormbreaker's next target was the Arcturians' primary shipyard in the Cygnus sector. But this time, they weren't just there to destroy it. Begin capture operations, Victor ordered as his fleet surrounded the massive facility. Earth Command wants this yard intact. It's time to start building our own empire. Yuki's modified disruptor waves disabled the shipyard's defenses without destroying its production capabilities. As human marines secured the facility, she couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The very perfection they were so proud of made this possible, she noted, watching human engineers begin reprogramming the automated construction systems. Their technology can't adapt, can't evolve. Ours can. Victory brought more than just military advantages. Each captured facility, each broken defense network provided new technologies that humanity could modify and improve. Earth scientists took Arcturian perfection and introduced controlled imperfection, making it stronger, more versatile. We're not just defeating them, Yuki realized as she studied the latest breakthrough in her lab. We're surpassing them. Every weakness they thought they found in us became a strength. The birth of the Terran Empire wasn't just about military conquest. It was about humanity proving that their primitive creativity, their dangerous adaptability, were the very traits needed to lead in a galaxy that had grown too comfortable with perfection. As the Stormbreaker prepared for its next mission, Victor received word that the Arcturian High Command had requested negotiations. They had finally realized what humanity had known all along. In a universe of endless possibilities, perfect patterns were a weakness, not a strength. Send them our terms, he ordered. But make it clear this is just the beginning. Earth isn't asking for a place in their galactic community anymore. We're building our own. High Admiral Raj Patel stood before the combined fleet of the newly formed Terran Empire, his hologram projected simultaneously across 500 warships. The Arcturian Alliance had gathered their remaining forces for one final battle at their crown jewel, the Crystalline Throne System, home to their ruling council. They've backed themselves into a corner, Strategic AI Director Diana Chen reported, her cybernetic implants processing battlefield data in real time. Every remaining Arcturian ship has converged on this position. They're even pulling in their client race's fleets. The tactical display showed thousands of enemy vessels arranged in perfect geometric formations, beautiful, symmetrical, and utterly predictable. The crystalline ships glittered like stars, their formation a work of mathematical art. They still don't understand, Raj mused, watching the enemy's preparations. They think gathering in their most perfect battle formation will save them. All they've done is give us a single target. The Terran fleet looked chaotic in comparison. Ships of various designs, some originally human, others captured and modified Arcturian vessels, arranged in seemingly random patterns. Each vessel's liquid metal hull shifted continuously, making them appear more like a living swarm than a military formation. All command staff execute final protocol, Raj ordered. Throughout the fleet, human officers interfaced with their ship's AI systems, creating a hybrid consciousness that could react at speeds no pure organic or artificial mind could match. Diana's eyes glowed as she connected to the fleet's tactical network. The Arcturians are broadcasting on all frequencies. They're demanding our surrender. A bitter laugh escaped her lips. They're still calling us primitives. Let's show them how primitives fight, Raj commanded. All ships commence Operation Shatterpoint. The battle began with a move so audacious it violated every principle of space combat. The Terran fleet split into hundreds of smaller groups, each one appearing to flee in different directions. To the Arcturians, it looked like their superior numbers had broken the human formation. Their crystalline ships moved to pursue, their perfect formation expanding like a blooming flower to engulf the scattered human vessels. Exactly as planned. They took the bait, Diana confirmed. Their formation is stretched to maximum tactical efficiency. Her augmented mind calculated vectors faster than any normal human could comprehend. Perfection makes them predictable, initiating Phase 2. At her command, the scattered human fleet revealed their true purpose. Each group had positioned themselves at precisely calculated points in space. As one, they activated their modified drive systems. The fabric of spacetime rippled as hundreds of gravitational distortion fields overlapped. The Arcturians' perfect formation, spread out to pursue the humans, now worked against them. Their ships were caught in a web of intersecting gravity waves, each one pulling in a different direction. Their crystalline structure can't compensate, Diana reported with clinical precision. The conflicting gravitational forces are creating stress fractures across their entire fleet. Raj watched as the enemy's beautiful formation began to break apart. Crystal ships, designed to channel energy in perfect patterns, shattered under the chaotic gravitational forces. But this was just the beginning. Launch the Chaos Swarms, he ordered. From every Terran ship, clouds of autonomous drones emerged. Unlike traditional fighters, these machines operated on quantum uncertainty principles. Their movements couldn't be predicted because they actively defied prediction, their trajectories determined by quantum fluctuations. The Arcturians' targeting systems, based on perfect mathematical models, couldn't track weapons that deliberately violated mathematical logic. Their energy beams hit empty space while the drones slipped through their defenses. Incoming transmission from the Crystalline Throne, Diana announced. They're begging us to stop. They say we're unmaking reality itself. Raj's expression remained stern. They tried to unmake us first, show them our response. At the heart of the Terran fleet, the flagship Prometheus unveiled humanity's ultimate weapon. The massive vessel's liquid metal hull flowed like quicksilver, forming into a shape that defied Euclidean geometry. Reality distortion engine at full power, Diana reported, warning local spacetime stability at 15% and falling. The Prometheus fired, but instead of a conventional weapon, it released a wave of pure chaos. Physics itself seemed to rebel as the wave passed through the Arcturian fleet. Crystal ships didn't just break, they transformed, their perfect structures twisting into impossible shapes. By all the stars, Diana whispered, her cybernetic systems struggling to process what she was seeing. We're not just destroying their ships, we're rewriting the fundamental rules they built their civilization on. The Arcturians' remaining ships tried to flee, but there was nowhere to go. The gravity web held them in place while the chaos wave did its work. Their crystalline technology, dependent on perfect order and symmetry, couldn't function in space that no longer obeyed their mathematical laws. Message from Earth Command, Diana announced. Other Terran fleets report similar success across all sectors. The Arcturian alliance is dissolving, literally and figuratively. Raj nodded grimly. Send word to their client races. They have 1 hour to surrender and swear allegiance to the Terran Empire, or they'll share their master's fate. The responses came swiftly. One by one, the alien civilizations that had once looked down on humanity pledged their loyalty to Earth. They had witnessed the impossible, a primitive species defeating the most technologically advanced empire in known space by turning their own perfection against them. As the battle concluded, Raj stood in the observation deck of the Prometheus, watching the debris field that had once been the proud Arcturian fleet. Diana joined him, her cybernetic eyes processing the quantum aftermath of their victory. We didn't just win a war today, she observed. We changed the fundamental nature of space combat. No one will ever again assume that perfect order trumps adaptive chaos. They called us primitive because we embraced uncertainty, Raj replied. They never understood that uncertainty is the source of evolution, of growth. He turned to face the tactical display showing the expanding borders of Terran space. The galaxy thought they were containing a dangerous species. Instead, they forced us to become something far more powerful. The Terran Empire was no longer just a dream or a desperate gambit. It was reality, born from humanity's greatest strengths, their unpredictability, their adaptability, and their absolute refusal to be contained. As news of the victory spread, Raj knew the galaxy would never be the same. The era of crystalline perfection was over. The age of human chaos had begun. The Great Hall of the former Crystalline Throne had been transformed. Where once perfect geometric patterns dominated every surface, now curved lines of liquid metal flowed organically through the structure. Grand Chancellor Maya Jo stood at the center of what was now called the Nexus of Humanity, preparing to address representatives from 100 alien civilizations. The old order is gone, she declared, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. The Arcturians believed in perfect patterns. We believe in perfect adaptation. Quantum displays showed the ongoing transformation of the galaxy. Former Arcturian worlds were being rebuilt with hybrid technology that merged crystalline precision with human unpredictability. The result was something entirely new: cities that grew and changed like living organisms, ships that could rewrite their own physical laws. Fleet Marshal Talon Wright, hero of the Liberation Campaign, stepped forward to deliver his report. His cybernetic enhancements glowed softly as he projected tactical data into the air. The last pockets of Arctarian resistance have been eliminated, he announced. More importantly, their client races are rapidly adopting our technologies. They've seen the power of controlled chaos. Maya watched the alien representatives, nodding their mixture of fear and fascination. Many of them had once looked down on humanity as primitive savages. Now they scrambled to learn Earth's secrets, to understand how a species could turn unpredictability into an advantage. Director of Innovation Kane Rodriguez, your assessment, Maya called. A hologram materialized, showing a man whose body was more technology than flesh. The integration of human creativity with alien tech has exceeded all projections. We're not just building an empire, we're evolving one. The displays showed new Terran vessels under construction. Unlike the rigid designs of the past, these ships seem to breathe, their liquid metal hulls incorporating both human and alien DNA. They were living weapons, capable of adapting to any threat in real time. But our greatest achievement isn't military, Kane continued. We've cracked the code of controlled evolution. Our cities, our ships, even our own bodies can now adapt at will. We've turned the entire empire into a single, evolving organism. The alien representatives stirred uneasily. One of them, a being of pure energy, spoke up. You've violated the fundamental laws of order. No, Maya corrected. We've proven that those laws were too limited. The universe isn't built on order, it's built on change. The Arctarians failed because they couldn't accept that truth. Talon brought up new tactical displays showing the expanded Terran defense network. Our borders are now secured by quantum uncertainty fields. Traditional weapons can't penetrate them because the fields actively adapt to any attack pattern. And that's just the beginning, Kane added. Each world in the Empire is being upgraded with hybrid technology. Our colonies don't just grow, they evolve. Each planet becomes a unique experiment in controlled chaos. Maya activated the central display, showing the full extent of Terran space. Where the Arctarians had built their empire on rigid lines and perfect spheres, the Terran Empire looked more like a living web, its borders pulsing with energy. We offer you a choice, she addressed the gathered representatives. Join us as full partners in this new age of evolution or maintain your independence, but understand we will not be contained again. The response was immediate. One by one, alien civilizations pledged themselves to the Terran Empire. They had seen what happened to those who clung to the old ways of perfect order. In her private chambers later, Maya reviewed reports from across the Empire with her advisors. The transformation was happening faster than anyone had predicted. The Centaurian Collective has completely abandoned their crystal tech, Talon reported. They're requesting our help to upgrade their entire civilization. The Orion Assembly wants to establish hybrid learning centers, Kane added. They're calling it the greatest technological revolution in galactic history. Maya smiled, remembering how it all began with aliens who thought humanity too dangerous to join their perfect society. They were right to fear us, she mused, but not for the reasons they thought. We weren't too aggressive or too primitive. We were too alive, too capable of change. The next day she stood at the heart of the Nexus, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. Each vessel was unique, incorporating both their native technology and human innovations. The sight filled her with pride. This was what an empire should be, not a force for conformity but a catalyst for evolution. Send word to Earth, she commanded. Operation Genesis is complete. The transformation of the galaxy has begun. In orbit above her, the flagship Prometheus had evolved into something that defied traditional physics. Its hull wasn't just liquid metal anymore, it was a quantum membrane that could rewrite reality itself. The ship was humanity's ultimate statement. In a universe of infinite possibilities, the only law that matters is the law of change. The Terran Empire was no longer just a political entity. It had become a force of nature, driving the galaxy toward a future where adaptation and evolution were the only constants. The aliens had tried to contain humanity's potential, fearing what they couldn't control. Instead, they had unleashed something far more powerful, an empire that turned chaos into strength, unpredictability into advantage, and human determination into the catalyst for galactic evolution. As the new representatives took their places in the Nexus, Maya made one final declaration. The age of crystal perfection is over. The era of human evolution has begun, and this time the galaxy evolves with us. The Terran Empire had been born in fire, forged in defiance, and now stood as living proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their unshakable drive to adapt, to change, and to grow stronger with every challenge. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had intended all along.